right. Well, hello everyone. I am Alia, or the one of the head coaches for the Sandbag Academy program. Today is going to be the first seminar we're having for the academy. If you don't know already, Academy is the coaching program that we have. We already have one of the coaches in there, UDB, but we have plenty of others as well. I see a lot of familiar faces for students, and everything. So it should be pretty fun. Today's lesson was voted on by y'all. The votes were for, let's see the poll real quick. The poll was gauging your improvement, mentality and health, and practice application. It tied with gauging your improvement, so we're gonna do that I think Saturday. But for practice and application, we're just gonna do that today. So for today's lesson is practice and application, leveling up your game. We're gonna go over quite a few things in terms of how as an old player you can learn how to practice, ask your questions, be able to apply your practice in the game, a little bit about what you should use training mode for, and then at the end we can do some questions and answers. This is from an old guide that I have, just being able to reuse it, so this shouldn't take too long. It's not going to be too long as well, so if you have to go somewhere, you should be pretty chill. I think everyone is pretty much here, so I should be able to get going. I'm gonna close this. This might be the only coach I'm getting before tournament tomorrow. Oh, good luck, good luck, good luck. This should be able to help a little bit then, I'm hoping. So that's all good. Let me go to the disclaimer real quick, and then we'll be good. So you can see the outline for what we're going to be doing today. Please do note that, as it says, all of this is going to be uploaded to YouTube. So this can include any in-game footage, usernames, and Discord profiles. I'm recording just the slides, so I'm not going to show Discord or whatever, but you have to keep in mind because I am recording you. So that's something I do want to say. If you don't want to be featured on audio video, please mute yourself or leave the call. This is your only disclaimer before I begin the presentation. So you can't curse a lot if you do come up. Hey dude, look out. That's actually really funny. Okay, never mind. But yep. So just want to let you know, this is being recorded. So be on your best behavior. I'm recording the slides, but still. But you can see we have four sections. How do I practice? Creating a practice routine, training mode, when to use it, and then asking good questions. Can you curse in the chat? I'm not recording the chat, so you're good. But if you do ask questions to come up, I'm not gonna obviously don't get our channel cooked. So yeah. Okay. Think we're good. We can get this going. So let me make sure the audio is recorded. Perfect. Watch your language. It's crazy. Okay. So first, how do I practice more than just labbing? So now that I'm assuming for everyone, you've understood the basic mechanics, you've selected a character, you found ways to play online and keeping up a good mentality. It's time to learn how to practice and learn new things and how to apply them to see our progress and where to move forward. Both applying your progress and knowing where to move forward are two sides of the same coin of improvement. If you don't ever practice, you won't learn anything new or get better at what you know. If you don't apply what you learned in matches, you won't be able to see your progress on things you're working on and whether or not they're effective in actual play. So, how do you practice? Determining what to practice. You can't just practice without knowing what you want to practice. It's really important to have goals on what you actually want to train on. Otherwise, you're sort of wasting time. This is where self-analysis from the last section comes into play. Figuring out what you and your opponent did well and poorly in a match, working out is a great starting point to have practice goals. You can practice only on what you're bad at, nor only at what you're really good at. You should be able to practice both, but plan things accordingly and focus on what you really need. If you're already good at movement but need to work on edge guarding, take a little bit of time to practice movement to warm up, and then spend most of your time working on improving edge guarding. So, one example that I can give in this case was when I was playing, not Oath per se, but it was Rivals right there. When I was playing that for a bit, there's a friend that I had, and she was really good with, I want to say, she was just really good with a bunch of different characters. But I struggled to beat her a lot because she had a lot more experience than me. So I remember for me, I was struggling to find out like what to practice because she just yeah, she was just a lot better than me. She knew the matchup really well. She edged guarded me really well. My movement was a little bit I smashed it in the air. She's just really good at movement. She's able to counter abilities. I didn't have clearance, so she doesn't have the best in terms of range. She's a very like close range character. So while I did have what's it called, tippers, it was very difficult to figure out where to use them, what to grab. how do I balance them together? How do I get my combos up? So I try to find, a good practice routine for what should I do to improve, and that's actually going to be our next section, which is diversifying our practice. You want to make sure that the regime you have is diversified. There's so many different matchups, different skill levels, different techniques, and everything that you have to be able to exercise, as many situations as you have. Um, there's going to be a billion different game situations. There's going to be a billion times you're going to be up, you're going to be down, you're going to be in these different situations and different game states that you want to be sure you're prepared for them and being able to know what to them. You can't know everything, but experience is going to be a really good teacher in those cases. So you want to be able to diversify practice. You don't just, okay, I'm going to go to the practice and I'm just going to lab this one thing. I want to diversify. Okay, I have these main things I do want to improve on, but there are other things as well that I can add in. I can add this matchup. I can add something I'm really good at. Maybe I'm good at this combo. I can add that in at the beginning and be able to have that as sort of like the easy to the rest of your practice. And with along that goes consistency. I think I might have actually skipped this slide. Give me just a second. Nope, I do it. I'm good. Okay. Um, Last note is consistency. It's been demonstrated by studies in a lot of different spaces that spacing out your learning instead of covering it all at once dramatically improves your ability to retain information, and it applies to Smash as well. Um, Obviously all of us have school, we have work, we have all these different things. So you want to be able to make sure that, hey, when I'm practicing, I'm gonna set this specific time and I'm just gonna, focus, I'm gonna lock in, I'm gonna do this, consistently when I can play. So for example, if I know I have a tournament, can I make it kind of a habit that I'm gonna practice for the day, the day before I'm gonna practice for the song, or the week before I'm gonna practice for 30 minutes every day to ramp up. Maybe you can have a sort of training plan. You can do, okay, I'm gonna do this matchup this day, and do this combo next day. Oh, I don't really, I need to be clearer. Okay, I can make sure I'm good because I don't want to speak too fast or whatever. Okay, give me just a second. I'll make sure I'm good. Okay, okay, is this fine? I want to make sure I'm good. I don't want to be too low. Computer activate giga chat mode. Is this good? I'll make sure I'm good. Okay, that's good. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Then in that case, we'll go with it. That sounds way better. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. Let me check my mic real quick, and then we'll be all good. What is it saying? Not right now. Defaults. Right now. Sure. All right, there we go. Let me reduce this in OBS real quick. Okay, we're good. We're good. Now we just have to speak a little clearer too. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. All right, perfect. Okay, thank you, Balcom. I just want to make sure. About our friends, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Um, Applying that practice, this section is called practice and application for a reason. If you don't spend time intentionally using what you've learned in real matches, you won't know how effective you are at your goals. You can't this is something I've struggled with a lot with fighting games where I've kind of had this, match anxiety, wanting to play other people. A lot of time I've kind of just ratted in training mode and, like if it, what did that mean where it's like, oh, if training mode was how I played, I would be the best in the world, but you can't you can't apply like that. If you're trying to learn, you have to actually put it into a real match. You have to actually put it into a real game that you're playing with other people. So one thing that I saw from in the chat was from the champ. If you're like me, I like to go to stream arenas and play with friends to practice. That's a good idea, actually. You'd be able to actually play with other people and be able to apply it. Those are sort of low stakes games. You're not in a tournament setting. You're able to apply it in a low stakes environment where you're able to improve. So if you have a sort of combo that you want to perform, just go for it, right? If you have this technique that you want to be better at, just go for it. If you're in, you make sure you can put yourself in these low stakes environments where you can actually apply what you've learned. And real matches as training mode because the actual training mode sucks. That's true, but yeah, be able to just find low stakes environments you're able to improve. Um, if you can get practice sessions, that'll obviously be great as well. Just take what you've learned, find a low stakes situation, just use it, just use it, just use it, just use it. Even if it feels this is awkward, this is whatever, just go for it. So next section, creating a practice routine.
Warm ups. One thing that's definitely beneficial to your routines is adding a warm up. This is like an intentional set of exercises you can perform before getting down to business of what you really want to improve on. One thing that Sajam said, who makes really good fighting game content, is that take warm up routines as if you're brushing your teeth. You want to start your play. You want to start and end your play sessions with warming up before you delve into what you have set as a goal to practice. And if something important comes up during a play session, feel free to go into training mode and experiment with it. So you can kind of think of it as like, okay, I could warm up and I have this my set, kill confirms. I can do that. I can run those through. I have my three BNBs. I can run those through. Um, and if something feels weird, or if I find something different, or if I'm not being able to execute, my movement, then I know, okay, then this practice session, that'll be where I work on. If I can't do this warm up thing I do consistently, if something feels off, or I feel like I can improve on something, then that way you can kind of gauge, okay, what kind of things should I focus on, for this matchup, and in addition to what you already, have for the plan. There we go. Prioritize. Let me make sure that that's the perfect. Okay. Prioritize. If you're in training mode, practice on higher priority things you want to work on, improve on. Or pretty much in another way, try to outline things. Don't just try to go in and okay, I'm just gonna screw around. I'm just gonna fight this CPU. I feel like doing this. I feel like doing that. Try to look at if you're doing VOD reviews, for example, and let's say your VOD reviewer is like, hey, I think you should focus on these two things. You can kind of look at that and say, okay, well, what things do I understand? What do I not understand? What I feel like from my perspective, I do good at? What do you think, from my perspective, I need to improve at? What are the kind of things I can prioritize? And then you can kind of go into training mode with a purpose. Because if you don't go within a purpose, you're not going to be able to be that as productive. But if you could break things down into steps, or as I've been saying, make a training plan. If you're able to practice consistently every day, you can make a training plan. Okay, this is maybe matchup day, or if for you it's better to not compartmentalize it, kind of not to compartmentalize into each day, but kind of into each training session. You could argue, okay, let's do a little bit of matchup work, let's do a little bit of movement work, let's do a little bit of kill confirms, and then let's do test that into a practice match, or not, hopefully not quick play if you can, but actually going on Discord and finding someone, or a stream arena. Can I do that? Because if you can break it into steps, you can actually build a plan and it feels more possible. Because when you're given kind of criticism or feedback on how to improve, it can feel like a really big sort of step, because it's this goal that you want to reach, but you don't necessarily have the steps to improve it. If you can build, but nothing says you can't build those steps, so you can't. You're the driver. You can find what streets you turn left on or turn right on, what lights you pass. You can build the sort of the pathway or the stairs to get to that goal, and if you're able to do that step by step, it doesn't feel so bad anymore. Face off, once you feel like you've practiced it sufficiently enough, get some games in with a friend or random foe. Like I mentioned earlier, we're playing an actual match to apply our learning, so we try to look for scenarios that we've played before. So just find other different people to play in. Find as to try, if it's my advice, find people of all levels, find people that are better than you, find people that are maybe worse than you. I would spend most of your time finding people who are about your same level, but you do need to have a good balance. You do, in my opinion, you think you do need to end up being stomped at some points, because you do need to see, okay, well, how are people being able to adapt to your other habits? I'm maybe not noticing that someone who's mid-level might not be able to get to. If you're able to play people lower than you, they can recognize, okay, I'm in an advantage state. What do I do when the ball is in my court and I'm, scoring 30? What can I do in that situation? How am I performing when I'm at advantage, when I'm able to know the matchup really well? So find a good variety, good matchups, bad matchups, better than you, worse than you. I would say average around players of any matchup, maybe players who are like at you in matchups that you struggle with, who are about your level, so you can really feel you at least can be like an even game. You can really get some good movements in, but find a good balance of everything. Rinse and repeat. Finally, repeat the cycle or add things that will personally help you improve. You can go back to training mode. You can review replays, etc. Find something that works for you. Everyone's gonna practice different. Everyone's gonna learn different. You can find a top player's routine, or some of the examples I've given, but it should be how effective you are. If you know you're gonna have a really short amount of time, if let's say you have school, you only have like 30 minutes a day on weekdays to practice. Maybe in that case, okay, you only have such a short amount of time, but you obviously to do a lot. Maybe in that case you can have it so, okay, this Monday I'm going to do matchup day. This Tuesday I'm gonna do kill confirms. This Wednesday I'm gonna do combos. This Thursday I'm gonna do movements and technique, that sort of thing. You can kind of compartmentalize. You can kind of pace yourself with the limited time you have. If you know you have a lot of time, you can do that in one session, and you can kind of outline, and you can have more progress every day. But eventually, everyone's progress is going to be different. All progress, in my opinion, is good progress because you can at least still learn from it, even if you regress in some ways. You can still bounce back from it and use that as sort of an example of, okay, I'm doing this wrong, I'm doing this better. Where can I go from there? So find your own routine. Training mode. This is like a short thing about training mode. It's just been described as a good way to find solutions to problems that you're already aware of and want to fix. You can practice in training mode, but you shouldn't you shouldn't stay in training mode. You shouldn't rat yourself in training mode. You can't really grow if you don't apply it against real people. You can't just fight CPUs and call it a day. You do have to actually face other people. So in terms of using training mode to the fullest, I think training mode is good in situations where you're looking to practice combos, techniques, movement, etc. in a controlled, safe environment. You want to see how the mechanics and inner workings of the game works. You want to discover new combo routes, ways to play, and things to do. And you want to fix specific parts of the gameplay that you already know is an issue. If you don't know something is an issue, you can't just go into training mode and expect to find it. If you have to know something's an issue, like let's say someone VOD reviewed you, or you had a tournament set and you lost, and they're kind of giving you some advice. If you know something specific, you can go into training mode and kind of work on that. But if you don't know, the best way to find out what the best way to quickly find out what you need to be better at is just finding people. It is just finding people, taking notes, asking for advice, asking questions. And speaking of asking questions, it's asking good questions. You like have to ask questions to get other people to get better advice. You have to get tips. You have to get matchup experience. Asking questions is always going to be good, but a lot of new players may not know how to ask good questions that can help you get what you want efficiently. Main goal is just being specific with a clear intent and purpose is really, really important. So reprogramming your questions instead of asking just baseline questions, you should try to propose, who, what, when, where, why, and how. So you want to find the specific cause, you want to find a specific context for the issue. So for example, it's like, okay, what character should I choose? You could ask, okay, well, I know I like this thing. Who best fits in that? You can get a way better answer because without just asking what character you can choose, you might get a completely different answer. You might just get, oh, I think this character is good for beginners because their execution is not as high. This character is good for beginners because they're a good character. If you ask specifically, okay, what do I want? Then you can get way more detailed answers. You can get, okay, I like characters who do lots of damage. Okay, here's some characters who do lots of damage. I like characters who are easy to execute. Here's some characters who do things to execute. And it gets it done much easier. People to give much better answers to your question. And able to be more efficient because you don't have to spend a whole conversation, getting to the root of the issue. You should ask if a question is necessary. It's good to ask questions, but you should see if it's something that's self-evident or something that you can find, yourself. It's not a bad thing, but if it's a readily answerable question, you can go for yourself. So before you ask a question, you can ask yourself, what specifically am I curious about? What context am I curious about? Are there any resources where I could find the answers? Why am I asking this? Is this something you really feel like you can improve? Is it something that, hey, I know this player does it well, I want to ask them. I just lost a set, so I'm kind of in a space where I really want improvement, I want criticism. Try to figure out why you're asking something, because if it's just a casual thing, can you do some research to find it? Is this to start a discussion or just get a quick answer? If it's just to get a quick answer, can you use other resources to find it? You probably will actually get it quicker. Is this a concise question? Is this question focused on something specific? You can ask these things to yourself before you ask a question. And be able to make the most of the opportunity you might have. Maybe in a case where you have like a coaching program, or you're on stream and you're asking, the streamer a question, or like they're a coach or like a Medify or whatever. That way you can kind of make the most of the time you might have. Do this instead of that. Here's some examples of what good questions look like versus, bad questions. Not necessarily that they're bad questions, but better. You could do better questions. So for example, I can't beat Samus projectiles, help me. You could kind of format that to, I've been struggling with countering Samus projectiles as a specific character. Are the ways to play around them? You could find ways to, work around them. Okay, maybe might not be able to counter them. How can I play better around it? Little Mac can't kill. What do I do? You can find, okay, I want, specific kill confirms. I want something specific to solve my issue, right? Because like can't kill, it could be anything. Like it could be not putting a dive edge. It could be losing stocks early, you could be SDing. If you find kill confirms, then you kind of put in a situation where, okay, I'm in an advantage state with Little Mac, and it just can't execute. How do I attack the matchup? My character can't do anything. You can ask what type of moves should I use in this matchup. They tend to use far. The other character tends to use far ranging moves for spacing. You can find a specific context to solve what you struggle with the most. And this isn't to say you can't ask multiple questions. Those are just it's just that these negative questions are too broad. You're not gonna be able to get an efficient answer. And to me, an efficient answer is something that's specific, something that you can that's something that's specific and something that's actionable, something that you can take and actually improve on. Something you can take and be like, okay, I'm gonna do this. You can make a step of plan. That's something that's an actionable response. So that's pretty much it. Again, this is a pretty short thing. Are there any questions that you guys may have? You can ask in the chat, or you can use the stage thing. You can raise your hand, and I'll put you up on stage. Obviously, don't troll, because I will just be kicking people off. But if you have any questions, now's your time. It's okay if you don't have questions. I just want to make sure that people get their time in. So awkward silence. It happens though. It happens though. It's all good though. If there's no questions, then sometimes you're not. The way I look at it, and this is another piece of advice. Another piece of great advice. Sometimes you aren't in the mental state to take criticism or take a question. Sometimes you just are not prepared for it. You don't have the information to take it. So it's okay if you don't have questions now, you can ask whenever. But it is something to keep in mind. Sometimes you can, if you feel like you're down and you can't take advice, like, so let's say you just lost a set and the other person's giving you advice and you're kind of like, screw you. I'm better than you. I feel like I can improve at this. Sometimes you just are not in this space to take that advice. So you have to realize, okay, I'm in this situation. You have to have awareness for the situation. You're like, okay, I'm in a mental state where I'm really frustrated. Emotions are hot. I'm not going to be able to take this well. Is it okay if I can DM you later and ask a question, or if it can, or even for yourself, if you're getting advice, I'll look at this later. I'll write this down. I'm not in a state right now. I just lost. I can't take this, right? And it's okay to be that. It's okay to have humility and be able to respond to that, whatever. So, and the same thing goes for questions. Sometimes you don't have the context. You might be able to, you might take this after seminar, practice, or, face a tournament, be like, okay, no, I need to improve my practice routine. You can ask questions after. So, yeah. I wish this was about mentality. I'm walking textbook. I will do, I think mentality is going to be the third one we do, because most people said to do gauging and improvement and everything. So, and Udemy is a coach, so I'll read what they said. Also, do not be afraid to use matches against worse players to practice certain interactions or experiment interactions you don't understand. Yes, that's a very good thing as well. Like I said before, find low stakes environments, and stakes can be different. Low stakes environments to improve basically means not in a tournament, whatever. Because most people, obviously you can practice tournaments can give very good practice. Sandbag self promo. We host tournaments every Sunday. We host tournaments every Friday. You can get 4, 5, maybe even 7 sets in, just guaranteed, right? You can just continue to practice, continue to practice, continue to practice, and in that case, it kind of reduces the stakes from a regular tournament. But obviously, most people are not thinking like that. Most people are gonna take that as, I'm in a tournament, I need to compete, I need to be better. So it's kind of high stakes environments. Find low stakes environments. Find lower players, or find matchups that you're better in. You can use those to really pop off. Like, let's say you're gonna find yourself in a situation where I'm in a matchup that's difficult. I can't really get my combos off. If you can find lower level players, or find matchups that are favorable to you, you can find matchups, you can find interactions, you can find like kill confirms or combos that you wouldn't be able to get off on someone who's your level or better, because they're going to be able to counter that. So find different low stakes environments for what you want to improve on. If you want to find combos, play lower players. If you want to find kill confirms, play worse matchups. If you want to find movement, you probably you can play mid level players, that sort of thing. Find the low stakes environments to be able to actually apply your practice. I also think training should just be used for input things like practice and tears, something that needs to also fair. That's a fair thing. Okay. I think if that is the case, I can. There's some people typing, so I'll wait just in case they have questions. When will this go up? This will go up at the end of this week. So this should be a pretty quick. I am recording this, so unless the recording fucked up, then we'll be good. If it fucked up, I'll just record it on my own. I probably shouldn't curse, but whatever. I'll record it again, just solo. Okay. Well, thank you guys for attending. This is the first time we're having it. You can watch this back at. Obviously, it's not live right now, but later on it'll go up live. This the playlist. That's where it'll go to, so you can watch this live. It'll be up, this week, so you'll be good. It be applies to the host. Thanks to Coach for posting this entirely free. You can see the tournaments we have. We have Sandbag Series on Sundays. I have to get the link up today, but I will get it up. Same with Lottie Night Grind. We'll have it next week. You can enter every Sunday, enter every Friday. These are tournaments that have what's called skill matchmaking pools. They're called Swiss. So you can get 4+ sets in and LNG completely locked in. At Sandbag, we even have 5 sets during pools, and then everybody moves on to a gold and silver phase. So you can get 7+ sets in Sandbag. You can get a lot, 4+ sets in Lottie Night Grind. You can get a lot of time to practice and apply. You can find good ways. You can apply your things. You can find players around your skill level. It's a very welcoming tournament, so we'd love to have you guys as well. And then finally, you guys can join Discord .gg/SBU. They're our partner for the academy. They're providing a lot of the coaches, so make sure to join up there as well. And then if that's pretty much everything, then that's it. I'll get this up this week. If y'all have any other questions, hopefully this was fun. Let me know how this was. This is the first time we're hosting a seminar, so I definitely want to get feedback and everything. So definitely let me know. But if that's the case, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna end the recording. So see y'all.